Hi, Alex from Stoic Conditioning. We're going to be going through some more Q&A sessions, so let's get into them.
Next question we're going to go through is how can I optimize my recovery process to avoid overtraining and prevent injuries? It's really hard to talk about the prevention of injuries. We can mitigate the potential for injuries, but you can never really prevent them fully. So all these programs out there that are like bulletproof knees, bulletproof back, I'm going to make this invulnerable. It's all kind of bullshit. There is no way. You're going to get injured. That's the unfortunate, but also fortunate fact of training, especially in high performance teams. You know, there's a lot that an injury can teach you about training, about your needs, you know, whether you need to focus on something, whether it was just an oversight, whether your life stress got involved and that was something that just cascaded into an injury. All of these things play a part. You know, myself, I had a catastrophic back injury, and that taught me more about strength and conditioning, mobility, you know, the areas that I was deficient in, the areas that I could work on to actually like bolster up all my training and bolster up to the point where, you know, my back injury is a thing of the past. It never bothers me. It hasn't bothered me for nearly 15 years. So with that aspect of it is like, how can you optimize your recovery process and avoid overtraining? That's really the key part, is volume control. When I've looked at training Olympic athletes in the past, you've got to look at the cumulative stress load that is on their body. It's something called the allostatic load, or the overall stress that is on that person, whether it is life stress, whether it is, you know, they're moving house and they haven't told you about it, and that's an immensely stressful thing. It's something that plays on their mind, and then they turn up for training and you're trying to get them through a training program wondering why their nervous system isn't firing like it normally does. So the recovery process, or, you know, avoiding overtraining, yes, you can tack in things like mobility, you can tack in massages. That's massage, like soft tissue massage, not heavy massage, just soft tissue massage is one of the best ways to help rejuvenate your body. But really it does come back to that volume control. What are you doing this week that's different from last week? How are you increasing the volume? Is it in line with what you can recover from? Are there any other stresses coming into your life? And then that's where we start to talk about interoceptive training. So you have to be interoceptive, you have to listen to your body, you have to know that, yes, I'm just coming off the back of a highly stressful period in my life, or I've been traveling for 2-3 days, I might be jet lagged, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna PB. No, you're not. Well, you might be, but again, you're leaving the door open to potentially injuring yourself. It would be great and it would be easy if the human body was like a computer, but it's not. But this equation kind of like works on, you know, explaining things from a capacity demand. So if the demand that you're placing on your body exceeds your capacity to tolerate that demand, that's when it's going to lead to being in a more potentially injury-prone state. And I say potentially injury-prone state because it's really hard to predict injuries. You can't predict it when you're going to roll your ankle. It's just something that happens. You're on a run, you're 9 miles in, you're tired, you know, you take your eye off the terrain and you roll your ankle. That's something that you can't really train for. It's highly unpredictable, and that is like one of the biggest natures of injuries, is sometimes they're very unpredictable. However, a lot of the injuries that we see with our demographic are very, very avoidable. And a lot of the injuries that come our way, you know, we get a lot of questions about injuries coming in on our Q&A sessions, and a lot of injury questions coming in just through our Instagram DMs or through our emails. And a lot of them are all very avoidable because they're based on you just did too much too soon, or you weren't paying attention to what you had done previously leading up to those training sessions. You know, a lot of people like to think that they're going to get injured on exercises and stuff like that. And you know, unfortunately, the statistics that we see and the statistics that are very publicized are most of the injuries that people get in our community are very avoidable. They're part of your training program. You're just doing your training program too much, too soon, too many reps, too much weight, too many runs. So it is about volume control more than anything. That's going to be the biggest thing that will be the predictor of how long you go before getting an injury. But the statistics on injury, hate to piss on everyone's fire, is roughly you're going to get 1 injury for every 60 weeks worth of training, was the last time I checked in terms of the statistics, which isn't too bad. 1 injury a year, that's not too bad. You can learn a lot from it. And again, if you mitigate those potential injuries by managing your volume and making sure your body's capacity for movement, your body's capacity for range of motion, being strong in those range of motions is as high as you can. And that way, if you do get injured, your recovery process is probably going to be a lot quicker anyway.
If you guys ever have any other questions related to this or any other topic, pop it in the questions section below or reach out to us on Instagram and we'll always get back to you. From everyone behind Stoic Conditioning, wherever you are in the world, stay safe and we'll catch you on the next one.